opening lap. 5.39 kilometres of the Dubai Autodrome. Clean so far, although we're getting to a more tricky point of the circuit. The pinch point at 2, successfully negotiated. Jeroen Bleekemolen building a lead of about 4 car lengths now to Mirko Bortolotti in the green Lamborghini second.
And progress at the start there from Sven Müller, the newest Porsche factory driver in the number 12 Factec Auto. Porsche up from 5th to 4th, going right over to the pit wall, take advantage of the inside line into turn 1. But that was pretty neat and tidy, Johnny, in what could have been a very tricky turn 1.
Yeah, and the leader's already onto the back straight then for this long run down towards turn 10. So the leader's starting to open up a little bit. It'll all get condensed again, though, down at turn 10 as Jeroen Bleekemolen turns sharp right, and the pursuing GRT Grasser Racing car of Mirko Bortolotti with that AMG in his sights. Second position for the moment for the Lamborghini Huracan. The Porsche of Robert Renauer then still in third, but as you say, Sven Müller was really the man on the move in the red and white Porsche, number 12, run by Olaf Mantai's group Mantai Racing, and that car running, I think, now in 4th position, peering out towards turn 12. The cars will come properly back into the site of our commentary booth in a moment or two. There they go, heading towards the leaders already at 14, and now the kink at 15. And down the hill towards the final corner to complete the first lap of many over the next 24 hours. And yes, the bright orange and white Porsche of Sven Müller up to 4th position and challenging for places just ahead. So over the line, Jeroen Bleekemolen leads the first lap by 1.2 seconds from Mirko Bortolotti's Lamborghini. Robert Renauer in the 911 Herbert Motorsport Porsche is third, but Sven Müller in the 4th place 12 car, certainly pressurising the other Porsche in the top 4. Jelmer Berman running 5th in the number 3 Black Falcon Mercedes. So the loser on that lap, Christopher Haase, from 4th to 6th for Optimum Motorsport. Then it's Christian Engelhardt, Maxime Jus, Andrea Remici in the HB Racing number 7 car, which is the Lamborghini Huracan of the HB Racing team. That car is running in 9th position ahead of Christopher Mies in the number 4 Belgian Audi Club car. Remember, those guys won this race 12 months ago.
Already progress being made by that number 1 car. We heard Nick talking on the grid. Christian Frankenhout already up into what is now around 20th place and making further progress on this lap. Streaming around, very clean so far though, but no shortage of wheel-to-wheel action, certainly down in the classes. And I think we're going to see the leader with the little Clios on this lap.
On this lap, you think?
Possibly as early as... No, it could be early the next lap, isn't it? I've just seen the final car coming through. As the leader passed us to complete its first lap, final car in the train, just exiting turn 7.
Yeah, well, indeed. We've made the point that there are so many cars in this race that the distance between the leader and the back of the pack is significantly large now. We thought it was impressive just on the formation lap. Leaders now back at turn 14 for the second time. Jeroen Bleekemolen is probably over a second and a half now out front. We'll confirm that at the line, but the battle is definitely on for second, third and fourth. Bright green Lamborghini versus white Porsche. That's the Herbert Motorsport example. And then the Mantai Racing Porsche number 12 with Sven Müller at the wheel.
Somebody's comprehensively taking out one of the marker boards amongst the lead group at pit-in. I think that was one of the Renault RS01s. So the Porsches are going well, the Lamborghinis are going well, some of the Audis are going well, but the Mercedes at the front of this field, Johnny, is going fantastically well. Under 2 minutes the last time around. 1:59.215 gives Jeroen Bleekemolen a 2.1 second lead, chasing Mirko Bortolotti.
Maybe changing the order for the top 10 after lap 2. Christopher Mies, though, is under pressure from Lance David Arnold in the number 16 car, and Chris Mies, therefore, needing to keep his eye on the mirrors in the SPS Automotive machine number 16. Caught a glimpse of that. In fact, those cars go. Heading now for turn 9. So Lamborghini of Andrea Remici is in 9th. Christopher Mies is 10th. 11th position, Lance David Arnold. And Arnold getting a really good run this time on the Belgian Audi Club Audi R8. Pulls out a line, is level, and might actually be able to take the place just before they get to the corner. The problem is turn 10 is a right-hander. No, the Mercedes gets through. Fabulous work under braking there from Lance David Arnold to pick off Christopher Mies. That's 10th position.
Yeah, and already a couple of joker laps. We'll explain a little bit about that in a little wee while when this thing calms down just a little. Duncan Huysman in the V8 Racing, the Chevrolet Corvette, has just burned one of his, and unfortunately not by very much, 202.764. And the same for it's Christian Frankenhout has just popped under the 205 mark in the number 1 car. So one of the 10 laps they're allowed under their bracket time effectively has already gone for those 2 cars.
Clio's are having now to make way for the A6 Pro cars that are working their way through. So there's the first bit of lappery. The purple and orange Clio sensibly staying off the racing line as charging through on the right hand side the top 10 A6 Pro cars. It's still Blake Molan out front, 2.291 seconds now the gap back to Mirko Bortolotti. Robert Renauer and Sven Muller third and fourth. Jelmer Berman is in 5th position. There's a second between Muller and Berman in the second Black Falcon AMG. Christopher Haase from Optima Motorsport running in 6th place. Then Engelhardt, Jus, Amici and Lance David Arnold, one of the highest movers, if you like, having got by Christopher Mies on that lap. There was also some shuffling of the order a bit further back with Marcel Fessler in the number 5 Belgian Audi Club car overtaking Duncan Huysman for V8 Racing. So the 18 Corvette dropping a spot.
So at least 3 FI World Champions on this grid with Brendan Hartley and Marcel Fessler, both FIWC champions, and the FI GT World Cup champion Mara Engel from last year, from 2 years ago rather, also racing here. It's close stuff, isn't it? Jerome Bleekeman is trying to get away here, but Bortolotti is having none of it, beginning to get close to matching the times of the Mercedes-Benz ahead. 2.3 seconds, all but a sniff last time around, and then behind him it is a snarling pack of GT3s in very close proximity. One little slip there and there's going to be positional change in the top 10.
SPX battle also one to keep our eyes on in positions 18 and 19th overall, but that's a lead battle in category SPX between the number 24 Cool Racing by GPC Motorsport Vortex and the Vortex V8. So 2 Vortices, should we say, together at each other and separated by only 0.6 of a second. But the Mercedes of Jerome Bleekemolen is leading by just under 2.5 seconds after 3 and a bit laps.
Yeah, we can only hope that some of these little Clios have got GoPros installed, because they're coming soon to YouTube near you. There's going to be some very exciting footage indeed in car, as more GT3 cars than you'll see in a regular season stream by at a ridiculous speed. But very clean start to this race up and down the field.
Jordan Kroger applying some pressure on Mark Basseng in the Conrad Motorsport Lamborghini and dives down the inside of turn number 1. Hopefully there won't be any contact at this early stage in a 24-hour race, but Kroger, that was a full-blooded attempt at trying to snatch that place away from the Lamborghini. Didn't quite come off though.
Jordan Kroger, of course, knows this track like the back of his hand. A regular contestant here in past years with Dragon Racing, now aboard this stunning Renault RS01 Nissan V6 twin-turbo engined car, carbon tubbed, and late of the Renault Sport Trophy, now of blessed memory, but this car running in GT3 specification and is hustling that car along on the Conrad Motorsport Lamborghini Huracan. Seems to have a bit of an advantage just on traction out the corners at the moment, the Lamborghini, but certainly when it gets to the twisty bits, the Renault closes right up. Under braking there again. That's actually just in the braking zone, up the inside now, and it's Jordan Kroger. Not quite, and there's contact.
Oh dear. Now that's down at turn 10, isn't it? Yes, with the Lamborghini stuck in the middle of the track. Thankfully it's managed to rejoin without further contact, but Mark Basseng did not want that. I thought they'd come very close to each other at turn number 1 and was really hoping that we didn't get that sort of result only 10 minutes into a 24-hour race. There it is again. Jordan Kroger stabbing his nose up the inside of Mark Basseng. Basseng turning into the corner as he was duly bound to do, and the Lamborghini Huracan of Conrad Motorsport pirouetting It's rejoined, having lost 5 or 6 places.
Also a spin and recovery for the number 11 GDL Team Asia Lamborghini Huracan. This one of the Super Trofeo cars in the race, but that car has continued as well. So first significant incident, Johnny. It's unlikely on balance to be the last.
You would think not. And Alban Baruti, who had just been overtaken, I think, by Groger and by Mark Basseng, is now right on the boot lid of the GP Extreme Renault RS01. So that's the EDEC Sport Mercedes in its traditional EDEC livery with the black, white and red colours. Baruti also bringing with him an Audi of Marcel Fessler.
Absolutely. EDEC Sport, by the way, one of the very few teams in world motorsport to contest with prototypes, GTs and yachts.
Really?
Indeed.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
Fun facts from Graham Goodwin in the opening hour of this year's 24 Hours of Dubai. RadioLeMans.com bringing you unrivaled and non-stop coverage of this year's Dubai 24 Hours, our first motoring event of the year, which January into February, always a very busy period of our season, and this is a great way to kick things off. Jérôme Bleekemolen on lap 6 had a lead of 2.7 seconds then over Bortolotti. Robert Renauer still third, and fourth place Sven Muller.
Yeah, incident involving those two GT3, or the A6 class cars under investigation. We'll keep you up to date with anything that comes back from race control from that. 2.7 seconds that lead. But just a hiccup or any kind of error in traffic will see those two cars nose to tail again. Just looking for cars making progress up through the field. Actually falling back a little, Christian Frankenhout has actually dropped back a couple of places since that early progress.
Now, an awful lot happening at the start of that race. Thankfully, not a lot of incident, but there is a chance now for us to see that again. So, as the red lights went out, the cars pouring their way out of turn 16 then. And this is the great getaway for Jérôme Bleekemolen, with lots of flag waving up on the gantry there. But Bleekemolen getting the jump on Mirko Bortolotti in the bright green Lamborghini. There's Robert Renauer in the plain white Porsche, and a superb start for Sven Muller, picking off at least 2 cars there in the run down to turn number 1 from the start-finish line, and that kind of got him out of trouble, I suppose. Muller still in 4th position and getting his head just above water to be in front of Berman, Haase, Engelhardt and Lance David Arnold, who's picked off Maxime Jus since we last mentioned him, by the way. So Lance David Arnold really on the move in the number 16, that camouflage liveried SPS Automotive Mercedes.
Top 11 cars still within 10 seconds of the leading car, but the lead had gone just a tad over 3 seconds for the first time for Jérôme Bleekemolen. The Black Falcon team, absolute stalwarts of this race down through the years. And this AMG GT3 is proving to be a very potent endurance machine indeed. So V8 powered Mercedes-Benz leads V10 powered Lamborghini, leads flat 6 powered Porsche at the moment.
Yeah, with the engine of the Porsche hanging over the rear wheels of that third placed car. Now, the 2:04 car, its lap time was too fast by Paul Troswell, so there'll be a stop-and-go penalty of 30 seconds. There are no jokers involved in category SPX, and that's the number 19
that's
Dodge Viper,
that's
isn't
it? The Dodge Viper, the venerable Dodge Viper. These Viper competition coupes entered production back in 2001, would you believe?
By the way, is the Vortex V8, which is currently running second in SPX, but has already gone below the Joker lap hall.
Yes, that's right. Although I said stop and go on that little bit of paper I just passed you, strictly speaking, it's not a stop and go penalty in the normal way of running things. It's a time penalty that it has to spend in the penalty box at its next pit stop. So not a stop and go penalty in the sense that it interrupts the flow of the race for that car, but it will mean that its next pit stop he'll have to spend some time in the penalty box, which we will come to know and love down here, almost in front of us here.
Yes, almost as if it's been designed deliberately so that we have this crow's nest view of the penalty box that will be visited as the cars make their way in for a stop. And there, theoretically, if a car has to serve a penalty, you might actually see a car stop on 3 separate occasions within the pit lane. Penalty with the team on the apron and for fuel as well.
Indeed.
Yes, but on the bright side, if you've got to take 2 penalties, for example, you don't have to do them in 2 different pit stops. You can do them all at once. So you could take 2 or 3 penalties all in the same unit at the pit stop penalty box.
It's an accumulative thing.
Yeah, so effectively you're not losing an additional 35 seconds or so over and above the penalty you've been dealt.
Yeah.
Plus, yes.
Understood. Here are a number of Seats, and also there's the Honda Integra there, the DC5 working its way into turn number 1, car 48.
Going up the inside of the 121 Seat.
Which therefore isn't one of the lap 57 cars. Car 48 is run by ZRT Motorsport, who are an English crew. So they're from the United Arab Emirates, I beg your pardon, but Chris Yarwood is the named man against that team. He is English, along with Graham Davidson, the Scottish driver, Umar Khan from Pakistan, and Jonathan Mullen, who is Irish, although based, I believe, in the United Arab Emirates and running on that licence. So their little Integra DC5 going strongly in the early stages. And fighting in amongst, I reckon, cars from that same class, Class A2.
Well, the class battles are no less fiercely fought. If you're watching trackside here, pick a car in each of these classes and just watch the way they progress through the next 24 hours. It's a fun way to do this, particularly with the more junior classes, just to keep an eye on the progress of a favourite car, whether it's a driver that holds your interest, whether or not it's a crew from a particular country, a colour scheme, or even the make of car. Just do that trackside, and it does add another level of interest. It's a bit like, Johnny, I mean, I know you support a lower-ranked football club in the UK, don't you?
Wasn't always the case. Matches your T-shirt, in fact.
Thank you very much. Come on, you Blackpool.
Yes. The gap between first and second is 0.6 of a second. So Blake Molan obviously is having to thread his way through quite a bit of traffic at the moment, and Bortolotti maybe is able to judge that better than Blake Molan, being that bit further back, and has that bit more time, therefore, to decide whether he's going to go left or right. I think that gap, though, between first and second is going to fluctuate quite a bit over the next hour or so.
Just watching that lead battle coming through at the bottom end of the circuit, down by the floral tribute to the Airbus A380. And it is very close indeed, a massive gaggle of traffic for the leading cars at the moment. So anything could happen in the next third of a lap. Keep tuned, I'm sure you will. Here they come, back into our side, up past the pit lane exit. It is tenths, the gap now between the two Bs. It's Blake Mullen from Bertolotti, it's the Mercedes-Benz from the Lamborghini. And to complete the lap, it's going to be, I think, about 2 or 3 tenths of a second here, Johnny.
RadioLeMans.com with Graham Goodwin and Johnny Palmer in the main booth at the moment, and Joe Bradley's down in the pit lane. We'll hear from just a second, but if you are not only listening to us on RadioLeMans.com, but also joining us via the live stream, which is already available on the internet, then we're just going through various numbers of our onboard cameras, currently enjoying the view from Jan Mardenborough, the 123 Nissan GT Academy Team RJN car, 42nd position, and Jan Mardenborough giving us this tour on the live stream. Whilst you enjoy that, going to get a word with Joe Bradley for the first time. Come in, Joe.
I'm not sure.
Not hearing Joe for the moment. We'll sort that out in just a second. Graham, you were about to say?
We've got a car moving slowly. We hear from race control from turn 7. I've spotted that car on track. Said as well, by the way, this 123 car is leading a much larger GT4 class SP3 this year than we've seen in recent years. So that's a healthy sign as well. Not only is GT3 growing, I can now see that car going down the back straight. It is indeed very slow. And from my vantage point, can't quite see what that car is. Picking up speed again. One of the GT cars. So cars continuing to lap this fabulous Dubai Autodrome in the bright sunshine, and why would it be any different Well, we have had heavy rain in this race in recent years. 0.6 of a second is all that separates the top two after 40 minutes of the 24 Hours of Dubai. We're watching the V8 Racing number 18 Chevrolet Corvette. This is, I believe, the ex-GT1 Corvette, a Spa 24-hour winning car from past years, many past years now. Corvette C6, fabulous beast, and of course balanced back to the GT3 level of performance, and eventually set pole position in the A6AM class last night, Johnny.
Now let's give Joe Bradley another go. That was entirely
You